kids aren't theirs, or they've been married for 20 years and get divorced, losing their wife's work, or losing the house. That's heartbreak. I ain't lost nothing. My kids are my kids. I ain't lost no money. I've never lost a house. I've never had to ask a judge to get rid of a bitch. Nothing. I'm fine. So I don't think my heart's been broken any worse than anyone else's. I think I'm just hyper realistic about the human nature of things, and I think that I'm very good at not becoming emotionally invested or not becoming obsessed with the idea of or hoping for some kind of fantasy I do not believe exists between humans. Like every single thing between humans is transactional. It always will be. We're in a transaction right now. You're giving me a platform and I'm giving you content. This is a transaction. And we're friends and it's fine, but it's a transaction. For us to sit here and go, this is not transactional, we're best friends and the transaction has nothing to do with it, would be disingenuous. And it's absolutely the same between a man and a woman. Men or women, they have this illusion or this dream of, do you love me for real? Do you love me for me? That doesn't even mean anything. That's not real. I love you because you're beautiful and you do as I say, and you make me happy sometimes, and you add to my status by being hot, and we have sex, and you rub my back, and that's why I love you. Yeah, but do you love me for me? Well, what are you without those things? Well, you're a blob of goo. This is a blob of goo. You love me because I'm famous and rich and important and tall and strong and smart and funny and interesting and charismatic. Would you love me if I wasn't those things? Do you love me for me? Well, what is me without all of that? What even is? What am I now if I have no charisma, no money, no capability, no intellect? Am I a blob of goo? Like this whole idea of love as a non-transactional thing is so flawed in the first place. So I understand everything is transactional. Well, there's people who can sit there and go, he doesn't have a real woman who really loves him because my wife really loves me and that poor guy, he doesn't understand real love. All right, bro. Talk to me after the divorce. Or they say, women are just with him for money. My woman's not with me for money. Well, firstly, you have no money. Secondly, I've never seen a woman in a divorce court who wasn't a gold digger. Funny how they're all gold diggers, isn't it? Isn't it interesting how in the end they're all gold diggers when the divorce court comes out? Turns out maybe it's always been about resource and protection and provision. Turns out it's always been a transactional relationship. Always. So when you're young, we talk about heartbreak, you have these ideals of love. Like, our souls connected, our spirits combined, all this bullshit. Maybe not. Don't think I ever went that far, but people in general. But as you grow older with enough experience, you understand that everything is absolutely, completely transactional. And Dubai will teach you that faster than anywhere. Or Miami. Certain cities will teach you that. That's why the red pill has died, by the way. That's why no one talks about dating anymore on podcasts, really. Because with the internet, with Instagram, with social media, with a few key changes in the last 4 or 5 years, it's highlighted the fact that rich men get women because they're rich, and pretty women want rich men because they can afford them a certain lifestyle, and it's all just absolutely transactional. And if you're a brokey, there's nothing you can do to say to a hot girl to convince her that she doesn't want a man with a boat. In a long enough time scale, she's going to want a man with a boat. She wants a rich guy. Because all her friends have rich guys, and it's peer pressure, and it's social media, she gets too many invites, and sooner or later she's going to leave. That's it. I'm not saying that a richer man can always take your girl. I'm saying that you have to afford her enough of a lifestyle for her to be content in that lifestyle, for her to not chase a lifestyle. If you can't offer her any form of lifestyle, she's going to eventually fall prey to the vacuum of scrolling TikTok and watching all these girls less pretty than her with Birkin bags. Sooner or later, she'll be like, well, I want a fucking Birkin bag. Why is this bitch better than me? No goes.
Is that not a cold way to live?
Well, it is. Look,
are you cold inside, honey?
Listen, Rob. When I go to the club in Dubai, or Miami, or anywhere else, and 20 beautiful women are trying to talk, if I were to think that they love me for me, I'd be an idiot. And if they were to think I love them for them, they'd be. The point is, it's actually completely fine if you're logical about it. I am perfectly fine for a gold digger to attempt to gold dig me. Because she ain't going to fool me into giving more than I want to give. And if she's hot enough, I'm prepared to give a little bit so that I can have her beauty and her company and her time. It's a transaction. I'm fine with it. Even if there's a loving happens sometimes.
Do you want that?
No, but what I'm saying is, love can be a play. Love can be observed from above. Love can be, look, I love her. I pay all her bills and take care of her. I fly her around on private jets. And look, she loves me because I'm big, strong, rich, famous Andrew. And look, we're in love. Look, we hold hands. Look, we're having a kiss. Look, you can observe it from above, like you observe a play on a stage, on a theater, or observe ants having a little battle on the floor. You can observe it for what it is. But don't get caught up in it. Don't be living inside of the lie, because it's not real. It's a transactional agreement. Your business partner. My woman is not my best friend. She's my business partner. We're in the business of children, or in the business of showing off on boats, depending where you are in the hierarchy of my women. We're business partners. We have a job to do, and you're with me because I got to provide X, Y, Z. And I'm with you because you provide X, Y, Z. This whole love crap. I'm not saying I don't feel love. I'm not saying that the love is not a feeling that exists. I'm saying it's not an independent entity outside of the transaction. It's actually completely transactional. All things in life are. Maybe am I sounding psychopathic? I don't think so. I don't think it's a cold way to look at it. I think it's just the reality of things. And when you understand that, you have a different view of perhaps all of your past relationships. So we'll talk about my first ever girlfriend. What do I think happened now? What did I think happened at the time? That she thought I loved me and just didn't want to see me anymore for no reason. And I didn't understand. Why? Because we were happy. Now, do I have a certain view of women because of that event? No. I have a certain view of women because I've learned throughout my experiences of life how women are. And also because of my status. A lot of people say Andrew says bad things about women. Let me make something clear.
When you say bad things about men,
Of course I do. It's not gendered, but of course they only choose the women's side. Let me make something clear. If any man watching this became the most Googled man on the planet with hundreds of millions of dollars and saw the actions and natures of women, they talk worse than me. I promise. It's so much worse than you can imagine it to be.
well, someone you know well said basically that, so that's backed up.
Well, I mean, and also, another thing, I'm a bad guy, right? According to me. But being a world famous bad guy, you'd be amazed how well that plays out. Like, it's actually quite incredible. And I would argue that I'm one of the most moral men on the planet. I'm the only guy I know who doesn't fuck girls who have boyfriends. They have to at least lie to me and convince me they don't have a boyfriend first. Most men don't give a shit. If there's a pretty girl and she has a boyfriend, they don't fucking care. That's his problem. And that's fine. That's human nature. I get it. I used to be that guy. Now when I meet a beautiful woman, I was like, where's your boyfriend? I haven't got a boyfriend. Who bought you that AP? My ex. Yeah, all right. When did you break up with him? I start quizzing them. And when they finally admit in the end, no, but yeah, I'm kind of seeing this guy. No. Because I don't want the bad karma. Because I don't care enough about women to even steal them off. I don't care enough about women to even want them off another guy. I'm so over chicks. I don't give a shit anymore. I have my wives and I've retired. I've got my 5 or 6. So I can't be bothered. Most men in my position wouldn't do that. Most men in my position would just steal everyone's girl at random, which I could do, but I don't do. So anyone who's saying, oh, Andrew says bad things about women, they're still living in this idealistic view where they believe women are not transactional and that love is love and that Disney princesses and blah, blah, blah. If they were ever in my position for a day, they'd be talking worse about women than I ever have in my life ever. Because you'd be amazed how cold and ruthless those princesses you're in love with are. You'd be amazed how cold and ruthless they are. And any man who's been around it knows that every man who's been around enough women has the stories of her answering the phone to her boyfriend in the bathroom afterwards or whatever. And you're just like, it's a cold, dark place, bro. But that doesn't mean love isn't real. I'm saying you just have to approach love for what it is. It's interesting. We're talking about Lily Phillips quickly, because people always ask, Andrew, what would you say to Lily Phillips? And I see all these people trying to preach to Lily Phillips, and I don't know why.
And she's the 1,000 girl.
Yeah. She gets railed left and right.
Yeah.
She's a whore. She knows she's a whore. She admits she's a whore. And that's fine. Like, I see Russell Brand and a few other people, and everyone's like on podcasts where they're saying, God thinks more of you. God expects more of you. No, he doesn't. God made her a whore. And there's always been whores. It's the oldest profession in the world. There's always been sluts. I mean, And men want sluts. Like, we all want a wife we can trust, and we want sluts. We want both. If we get a boat